Alrighty. It has been a long time since I made those witness videos. If you're a subscriber to my channel, I am finally getting back into it. Um, I'm, uh, I'm looking forward to picking up where I kind of randomly left off on those episodes. But we're gonna start with Braid, with a new series, Untangling Braid. Um, and Braid is the previous game by Jonathan Blow, of course, and just like The Witness, it's such a rich game. It came out in 2008. The Witness came out in 2016, so 8 years apart. And Braid, it's a platformer. It's a simpler game than The Witness, but mechanically and thematically. But that's almost every game. It's a simpler game than The Witness thematically. It's about so many things. Braid is about physics. It's about the scientific method, figuring things out. It's about what it means to exist in the universe, like just as a human being. Like, what is going on? What's this life that we have? It's about the search for enlightenment, for truth. It's about people like Richard Feynman, and of course, it's about time. It's all about the nature of time, how things change, memory, all sorts of things like that. And it has this beautiful contemplative mood that we're really gonna soak in as best we can over the course of this series. So, people who have played this game are probably, the game is from 2008. It's a long time ago. So we're gonna go full spoilers from day one. So if you played The Witness but you haven't played Braid, you know how spoilable The Witness is. Braid is almost that spoilable, so this is kind of your last warning. These videos are not going to be for you. Go play the game. It's really wonderful, and you'll really love it if you're a fan of The Witness. So, number one spoiler in this game. People probably playing this game, they're thinking, when is this guy going to talk about the atomic bomb? Because that's the well-known thing, like, oh, Braid, it's about the Manhattan Project, it's about the atomic bomb. And I'm like, yes, that's in the game, but just like in The Witness, people kind of seize on to these ideas that somebody writes an internet article about or something, and I'm like, you guys aren't seeing the full picture. This game is about so many things. The atom bomb is part of the whole story about physics, which is part of the deeper story about understanding what it means to be in the universe. And so this video and this video series is going to be a deep dive into the themes of this game. We're going to talk about all the philosophical ideas and influences that drive this game. And one of my favorite things about Braid and about The Witness and about all my favorite games is what they have in common. They have like the art, the game mechanics, the writing, the music, all the different elements all come together to support the core themes. Like, they mesh. They form this well-crafted whole. That's one of the things I love about video games, is they have all those different elements. So we're going to look at all of those things. We're going to talk about the art. We're going to play the puzzles. We're going to try and figure out the writing. And we're going to see how it all comes together and what it means in this series. Of course, there's another... Jonathan Blow himself, the creator of the game, is going to do a similar thing, because there's this Braid Anniversary Edition coming out soonish, I guess. It doesn't have a release date as of my filming this, but sometime quite soon. And that'll have an extensive sort of audio commentary system built into it, talking all about the game design and stuff. So it'll be interesting to compare my thoughts versus Jonathan Blow's thoughts. Anyways, let's get right into it. So here we are in this beautiful opening scene of the game. Notice there's no menu. There's no like press A to start. Jonathan Blow apparently had to like fight with the Microsoft people when he was originally making the game, because it was a requirement that all games have some sort of menu screen that you don't load, right into the game. But here we are. He won that battle with them. And in this beautiful like living painting, we're already playing. I'll do a little hop there. I'm that guy over there. It gives you this you know, if you're just looking at this, especially like if you had never played games before, maybe somebody like me is like dragging, you know, my relatives or something at Thanksgiving over and putting a controller in their hands and saying, "Oh, you got to play this game; it's so good." You'd look at this, you'd see the lettering Braid, but you'd have no idea that you were that little guy until you started to move around. I think that's important. It makes it so that your very first moment of interacting with the game is not navigating through some menu. It's like being connected to this character, which is just a silhouette right now, connected to him just through, you know, the act of interaction and motion, which is kind of a nice, pure game design moment there. We'll also talk about the amazing art style of Braid. We have all these moving particles. Of course, the title of the game is like written in fire, but even if you look at the buildings, they'll shimmer over time. The art style is shooting for like a living painting type of look, which of course it gives it that element of fantasy, of kind of magic that Braid has. The Witness is all about real life. It's all about this clarity and experience of the world, but Braid is a little fuzzier. It's about kind of fantasy and magic as much as it is about physics and reality and like the cold hard truth. So it's got that. It also, the fact that it's a living painting and that all the elements are always in motion is a big part of the theme of time, because everything is arising and passing away. It's all these sensations. It's like ever changing. You know, I've been sitting here. You guys have been staring at this intro screen, but it's been subtly changing through all these minutes, through these kind of wandering brushstrokes across the page. Yeah. So here we go. And notice the depth that we have. This is actually rare. This doesn't show up in the later levels, but that sunset back there, you know, and all the buildings are kind of have this parallax motion back and forth, so you can see deep into the screen and have this illusion of three-dimensionality in this kind of Manhattan, New York scene. Some people say like, oh, it's, you know, this is a scene of an atom bomb explosion in the city, which I think is really cool. Like it's this moment of destruction. I think that's kind of a secondary meaning or optional interpretation. I think the primary idea is that it's just like the beauty of a sunset. But of course, the sun is important in Braid as a sort of giant nuclear explosion in the sky, just as it's important in The Witness for those who've played that. Yeah, what a beautiful game. But anyways, we're gonna continue onwards. And now we see over here it's sunset. By the time we've progressed over here, it's not sunset anymore. Things have settled into dusk. The stars are starting to come out. We see the constellation Andromeda, the chained princess of Greek legend. We'll talk about Andromeda some more later, I'm sure. So this is all over in the game. There's these analogies for time, and one of the very most fundamental in this platformer, where you're always walking from left to right, is like time and space being intertwined. So we're walking forward, it's going from sunset to dusk. The street lights come on. We see our character. He's got this wacky red hair, a lot of kind of a spunky walk. This eager, dedicated guy. He kind of hollow cheeks. He's a funny dude. That's Tim. Yeah. So here's our little house. Coming to a nice kind of like New York row houses. Now you can see the buildings back here are more in the distance, instead of the big skyscraper canyon. So we're out in, I don't know, Brooklyn or something. I don't know, the neighborhoods of New York. We're into our little house. This, basically, we have now completed the literal plot of Braid, right? There's all these rooms, they have all these puzzles. Like, we've only been playing for 30 seconds of normal game time. But this is a very important thing to understand about Braid. So, there's no real princess. All these things are like thought experiments that Tim is having, right? So the real story of the game, we're just like living in New York or something. We're some ordinary person. I don't think we're supposed to be some kind of legendary physicist or something. I don't know, maybe. But we're just coming home and we're relaxing at home, and then we're having these thought experiments about all of these fantastical worlds where the world works differently. It's like, what if time could be rewound, or what if time and space were intermingled? Very much like the famous Gedanken experiments that Einstein and Feynman and all these other physicists used to imagine, how time and space might work, and figure things out about Maxwell's equations and the speed of light. It's also, of course, it's similar to, there are all these different worlds. Jonathan Blow has talked in the past about how Braid is inspired by the books of Italo Calvino, who wrote books like Invisible Cities, where there are all these little short stories, vignettes about different cities, and they're all kind of a reflection of what a city is, in the form of these different fantastical worlds. So this is that same style where it's a collection of different things. The worlds, they have numbers. This is world 2. This is going to be world 3, and so forth. But they kind of coexist. It's not really a linear sequence that much. Yeah. So we have these thought experiment worlds. This is also like the player's experience, right? So this is kind of forming a connection to the player, because we're coming home maybe from work or from school or something. We're sitting down on our couch, turning on the TV, or and we're getting immersed in these game worlds, maybe for night after night as we play through this game Braid. Each night we're thinking about a new fantasy world, and what would it be like if things worked that way in this fantasy world, experiencing the rules of it. So there's kind of an analogy between what Tim's doing and what you, the player, is doing, that helps you connect to the character, put you in the same mind space. Yeah, that's our show. We're about to dive into World 2, and learn all about the power to rewind time and how that changes the game design of platformer video games, and also kind of how that sets the tone for the theme of the game. But I'm going to try and keep these videos nice and short, so you're going to have to come back to that one next time. Thanks so much for joining me after however many years it's been since I made those last of the Witness videos. I'm excited to have you here. We're going to untangle these threads of Braid together.